morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to look at a new draw supporter. I know. This is very cool. We like draw supporters. We need draw supporters, incidentally. You see, we got to rotation. The rotation was kind. It let us keep Marnie, which is the both players shuffle the hand, put them on the bottom of the decks. Player who played it gets 5, the other player gets 4. That is a staple. Most people are playing that. A lot of people are actually playing it as a 4 of. And we kept Professor's Research, which is awesome. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards, fastest, most aggressive draw supporter in the game. And that's rather lovely. We like Professor's Research. Again, it does see players, honestly, like a 4 of in a huge amount of decks, and it makes its way into basically every deck. But we lost Judge. And we lost Cynthia. And we lost Tate and Liza. And we've been looking for a third. We've been looking for a third draw card. And we don't really have one right now. We don't have a good third draw supporter. Well, the good news is we have had one revealed today. And of course, you probably won't be surprised to hear that our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet. It is League Staff. And it's a supporter card that reads, draw 2 cards. If Wyndon Stadium is in play, draw 2 more cards. Yeah. It is another one of those draw 4. Now, we have long had a rule in the Pokemon trading card game. It's an unofficial rule, it's an unwritten rule, but it's clearly there. You cannot just draw 4 cards. Now, you can draw 3. Drawing 3 is easily done. We had Cherin, and then we had Tierno, and then we had How, and most recently we've had Hop. In fact, draw 3 cards is the generic friend of the protagonist in the game supporter card. And I did show you just a couple of days ago a new Shiftry card, and Shiftry's got a really awesome ability which says that while it's active, all of your opponent's supporter cards turn into these. All your opponent's supporter cards become draw 3 cards. It's kind of hilarious. But drawing 4 is something we don't get to do very often. Now, we do get to do it, but there is always some kind of downside. There is always some kind of catch. And when we're looking at these cards, the question is always, is it worth it? Are we going to be able to do this often enough? Probably the one of these which has seen the most play and success as we've gone along is Coach Trainer. Coach Trainer is a supporter card that reads, draw 2 cards. If your active Pokemon is a tag team Pokemon, draw 2 more cards. Because we had cards, or indeed entire decks like Gardevoir and Sylveon, that would literally play like 4 Gardevoir and Sylveon, and they would often play one other card. Some people went for Xerneas Prism Star. We saw it played with Mimikyu GX. They didn't all play one extra, but a lot of them did play just one random other card that fit a particular niche, or niche if you're American. So that was a deck that really loved Coach Trainer because you could pretty much guarantee you'd be drawing 4 cards. There were a lot of Pikachu and Zekrom decks that would basically play Pikachu and Zekrom and would play Raichu and Alolan Raichu, and they were basically the only attackers they would ever use, although to be fair, they still generally preferred things like Green's Exploration and Volkner. But I did see some Pikarom decks that were playing Coach Trainer. So essentially, the rule with these draw 2 if X draw 4 cards is essentially how often are you realistically going to actually be able to draw the 4? Because drawing 4 is good. We seem to have figured out a compromise here where we're willing to turn around and go, no, you know what? Drawing 4 cards is good. We like drawing 4. That seems to be worth it, whereas drawing 3 is underpowered. So I suppose at this stage we should probably mention Wyndon Stadium. Now, Wyndon Stadium we've talked about before. I'll try and remember to pop a link in the description. But it's a stadium card that says whenever you play a VMAX from your hand to evolve a Pokemon V, you heal 100 from that Pokemon. And I gave this a fairly positive review. When we looked at this, I said, you know what, this is pretty good. It's kind of awesome healing with VMAXs, and it's one of those where I don't necessarily think you have to play it, but I do also think that if we're sitting there and going, you know what, I need a stadium, I'm playing a VMAX deck, Yeah, I actually kind of love it. Well, right away, we need to remember here that outside of a VMAX deck, this League Staff card is basically not going to be played. Because you'd never play Wyndham Stadium outside of a VMAX deck. And Wyndham Stadium is needed for Pokemon League Staff, or I think it's actually just called League Staff, there's no Pokemon there, is needed for League Staff to draw 4 cards, and if you're not drawing 4 cards, you'd be better off playing Hop. So straight off the bat, we can say here, right, if you're not playing a VMAX deck, don't play it. But what if you are playing a VMAX deck? This could be cool. And sure, you've still got Professor's Research and you've still got Marnie, but this could be your third supporter. This could be the one you draw. I'm not saying you play it instead of Marnie. I'm not saying you play it instead of Professor's Research. But I am saying that there are going to be turns where you like your hand. Where Marnie would shuffle your hand into your deck, or actually shuffle it and put it at the bottom of your deck, and that would be annoying because you'd lose the cards in your hand, you'd have to find them again later. Where Professor's Research would make you discard your entire hand, and that would be awkward because you want those cards. Where you want to draw a few cards, but you want to retain your hand, oh look, in comes League Staff, and in that situation, this is really, really cool. But I do think that that is where we're coming down here. I do believe that the way this card ends up getting value and earning its money is this. You're playing a VMAX deck, you need another supporter in addition to your Marnie on your Professor's Research, this will do it. Because if we look at the alternatives, they're not strong. Dan will let you draw 4 cards, but only if you win a game of rock, paper, scissors, otherwise you're only drawing 2, which is kind of awkward. Roller Skater will let you draw 4 cards, but only if you discarded an energy card from your hand, which sometimes you're going to be able to, but sometimes you're really not. Coach Trainer obviously is a better option in tag team decks, and I'm not going to pretend for a second that it isn't. Bug Catcher lets you draw 4 cards, but only if you can flip her heads, which, I mean, depends how lucky you feel. Samson Oak will let you draw 4 cards, but only if both active Pokemon are of the same type. Great in a mirror match, but outside of that, spectacularly unreliable. So yeah, they're your options. In terms of the draw 2 cards, but actually you can draw 4 if this is better than the others, if I'm honest with you. It is just better. Now, we do actually have Lily's Full Force that will let you draw 4 cards, but there is a catch with Lily's Full Force, and the catch is that if you end your turn with 3 or more cards in hand, you've got to shuffle cards from your hand into your deck until you've only got 2. So you can just do a flat draw 4 with Lily, but you've got to end your turn with 2 or fewer cards in hand, which is not ideal. Incidentally, there is another which is pure draw 4, that is Evelyn, but Evelyn only works if your opponent's active is a stage 1 Pokemon, but this isn't draw 2 if your opponent's active is a stage 1 draw 2 more. This is either you draw 4 or you draw 0. And I've just run you through all of the other pure draw supporter cards we've got in the format right now. I believe I have. Do let me know in the comments if I missed one. Oh, Birdkeeper. But Birdkeeper is very much a draw 3 and switch. So again, you wouldn't play this over Birdkeeper if you thought you might only draw 2 cards, but you wouldn't play Birdkeeper over this if you were playing it just for the draw. So there we go. So honestly, I do think there is a use for this. I think if you're playing a VMAX deck and you're playing one that wants to use a healing of Wyndham Stadium, and I do believe that Wyndham Stadium will see play, then I absolutely think this is at least a 1 or 2 of. And that's what makes this such a weird card to talk about and analyse and review. Because actually, I do believe it's a good card, but I also believe that the range of decks in which it is viable to be used is extremely narrow. It's not even VMAX decks, because I don't think every VMAX deck is going to want to play Wyndham Stadium. But if you want to play VMAX decks and you want to play Wyndham Stadium, I do believe it's a good card. Outside of that, there is no way you would ever play, I don't know, 3 Wassies, which is either really harsh because I'm giving a good draw supporter that's going to really help you to win 3 Wassies, or it's really generous because I'm giving a garbage card that the vast majority of decks will never even consider playing, 3 Wassies. I don't know, Call it a compromise. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, I'd be really interested to know what you think about this. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.